Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston were absolutely dominant in tonight's overtime win. Aaliyah Boston had 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists, where Caitlin Clark had 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists. Now, you guys know that I've talked extensively, of course, about Caitlin Clark and kind of some of the issues with Kelsey Mitchell being her main running mate. I think Kelsey Mitchell can be too ball dominant and can kind of slow the rhythm of the game. She just as soon as she touches the ball, everyone else just starts to stand still and she just automatically looks to score. And I think it disengages a lot of the other players. And I think some of the stuff that Kelsey Mitchell does, Caitlin Clark does as well, which isn't the worst thing. But to me, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because to me, this is the path for the Indiana Fever. It's to have Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark get going. That is the path forward. That is what keeps this team more balanced. And when you're relying on on Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, especially for their shots to fall, you need them both to be hot in order to win these games. And if one of them isn't, it's too much. With having Aaliyah Boston playing so much closer to the rim, it's so much you can rely on it more. And it's so much more physical. It can be so much more exhausting to the defense. And that is very complimentary to Caitlin Clark. You can see a lot of two-man game between the two of them, as we see right there. And it just works, and you have the other women on the court moving around, and it just opens everything up way more. And again, it's not to say that Kelsey Mitchell isn't important. It's not to say that she doesn't play a huge role. Steph Curry needed Klay Thompson. But to me, and this isn't a perfect... Well, hold on. Look at this three by Caitlin Clark. Look at this three. This is a Steph Curry handoff three. Fading away in the corner. Absolutely remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. But again, this isn't a perfect comparison. But Aaliyah Boston is more of a Kevin Durant to Steph Curry. Okay? When you get her going, she's in a position to get more of a guaranteed bucket because, again, she plays so much closer to the rim. And when come time playoffs, in these tight games like this, as you can see, even in Atlanta, as this game went to overtime, you need sometimes these guaranteed buckets. And if you're relying on a Kelsey Mitchell 3, or quite frankly, even a Caitlin Clark 3, you run into trouble. You run into trouble. You need this right here. This is what you need. Look at this pass to Aaliyah Boston. Look at this. 2 women on her. Boom. When you get that going and you build your team between Caitlin Clark and Boston, that makes you so much more resilient in the playoffs. And that's what you're talking about right now, right? How can we win in the playoffs? Regular season, this team is making the playoffs. Caitlin Clark and this team, for years to come, will be able to be successful in regular season games. So it's what are you going to do in the playoffs when these games are very tight and close? And I'm telling you, you just can't live and die by the 3. You can't live and die by jump shooting all day because you're either on or you're not. Basketball is tricky. Basketball is not like football. Patrick Mahomes doesn't randomly just have a night where he just throws very inaccurately. But basketball, sometimes you're shooting 40%, sometimes you're shooting 30%, sometimes you're shooting 25%. You just have no idea. There's no explanation as to why sometimes Steph Curry can make 8 threes in a game and sometimes he only makes 2. It's not like he forgets how to shoot. It's just the nature of the game. So when you can get her going like this and shooting layups like that and being physical and wearing down the defense, that opens up everything. So to me, this is the path forward for the Indiana Fever. This is what they have to build their team around. This tandem, this duo of Caitlin Clark and Boston. And everyone else fills in. Again, it's not to say that these other women aren't going to have major roles. But I just think that over the last few games, and it's worked well for them, that they've just been a little bit too reliant on Kelsey Mitchell. And you could see that Boston kind of paid the consequences for it. You know, her game kind of took a back seat. And I just think that it was just, as you're watching that game, you're just like, oh, well, thank God Kelsey Mitchell made that 3. Otherwise, where does this game go? At the end of the day, it's just more resilient this way. And again, I think it's better when you can see it when you're winning in such a tightly contested overtime win. And that is what the Indiana Fever did. So I think it's exciting that they're able to kind of get this momentum going. They're not too far away from the playoffs. I really hope they can use these types of games as a blueprint for what works, what doesn't work. Because if you have Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston going like this, and you add Kelsey Mitchell shooting as well, and some of her quick layups, especially from passes from Caitlin Clark, the defense just won't know where to go. They won't be able to double team anyone. The court gets spread wide open, which then frees it for either Caitlin to shoot, to pass to Boston, right? To pass to Mitchell. Like, it just opens up everything. And now you suddenly, instead of becoming the 2015 Warriors, you become the 2017 Warriors, right? The 2018 Warriors, right? You got Kevin Durant now, Steph, and Clay. And that is the path forward for the Indiana Fever. And I think they recognize that too. I don't think that this was luck for them to really work Aaliyah Boston. I think they knew that they really have to get her going, because recently she's been on the more quiet side. I know she still put up some numbers, like she's still going to get some of her numbers, but she definitely was getting frustrated. She was complaining a lot to the refs. Like, she just lost a lot of momentum. And I feel as though that's when Kelsey Mitchell was really able to step up. And again, kudos to Kelsey Mitchell, because you're going to need to do that. I'm sticking with the Warriors comparison because I think it's really relevant. There's plenty of times that Steph Curry has taken a back seat to Klay Thompson. No doubt about it. Klay Thompson carried the Warriors for random stretches in games, or entire games in series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So again, make no mistake about it, this is not to de-emphasize or to marginalize the importance of some of these other women. It's just a matter of what is the blueprint that puts puts the Indiana Fever in a position to consistently win. Just like the Warriors' blueprints to consistently win isn't to have the game move through Klay Thompson. It needs to all move through Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, then Kelsey Mitchell. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about this really hard-fought win, and the fact that Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark combined for 56 points, both double-doubles, versus the Atlanta Dream? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.